Essentially, what it would do if council approves this resolution is and funds it, we would have a ready resource under the leadership of the RACSB that would help us manage street chronic homelessness populations citywide. And we think that's the right thing to do in light of increasing populations of homelessness, not only here in the city, but nationwide. We all think that it's better to have a civilian engagement with this population if difficulties arise versus a law enforcement engagement as the first order of business. So this MOU essentially sets that up. Again, if council funds this position, essentially you're granting monies to the RACSB. They would advertise and hire and manage a new community outreach case manager, again, for the sole purpose of supporting the city in its efforts to support homeless populations downtown and throughout the city. Essentially, that individual would provide resources, referrals to community organizations, be a business liaison, so our businesses downtown have a ready resource to engage in matters of homelessness interactions that might be might be on occasion concerning. So this individual, again, would be expected under the leadership of the RACSB to provide resources, ready resources, to help the city manage through these issues.
We've been talking to try to maybe work on something regionally, and I appreciate the fact that we're going to go ahead and make this happen for us and for our unhoused population here in the city, and to be a support for our downtown businesses and residents of our community. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that this is, a critical need, and I really do appreciate, the effort to push this forward so that we can start taking action now. A couple of comments, Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I definitely want to echo your comments. I can remember specifically being in some of those regional meetings where our efforts were unfortunately rebuffed by our neighbors. And so I'm very proud of the work of staff and other partners here to help us move the ball forward regardless. I think this is such an important step. And I just, again, looking forward to seeing what we can do, here, and then showing how we can maybe expand that to a regional approach in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Gerlach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm reminded that we're a small city with some big city challenges, but being a small city has its benefits. We're able to act nimbly and creatively in ways that other jurisdictions that have feet of clay have not been able to do. So I'm very pleased to see this move forward.
It makes sense for us to be having this conversation during our budget season when we're also talking about our partner agencies such as Hope House that we heard from tonight, and we've heard from Micah, and we've heard from COC. We've talked about COC and Empower House, and I just think it's important for us to look at this this issue in a comprehensive way, and it seems like we're doing that. And so I look at this person as somebody who can hopefully bring a lot of those organizations together for our unhoused population that we see on out in Fredericksburg, and help link them to appropriate services in a compassionate way. I think it's part of us being a compassionate city.
So as you're aware, the continuum of care has been around since the 90s, and our job is to bring together lots of different stakeholders in our community and make sure that we are kind of stretching across all needs. And so the Community Services Board has been a member of the COC for many years and have been at our tables asking how to be helpful, especially around mental health and what that looks like, as that is one of our biggest comorbidities for people who are experiencing homelessness. That increased even more so in the last, I would say, 3 years, where they got permanent supportive housing money through the Department of Health and Behavioral Health. And so right now, our ecosystem goes everything from street outreach to shelter to prevention to housing, and then we hopefully let you go. But our current ecosystem does not have any funding geared towards street outreach at this point. Many of our community partners have been doing street outreach informally when requests come in on the side, have fundraised for those positions. Micah has a hospitality center downtown where they've done that almost in reach is what I call it. People who come into that building, they're able to offer those services. And so for this position in particular, we see this as an extension of that beginning door. We have a homeless helpline run by Hope House. It's 24/7. Most people who are outside are not using the phone to call them. And so how do we take that out into the community? But for us, our role for street outreach is they are just as similar to any front door for our community. We would support them with training to make sure that they can directly refer to all services. They wouldn't have to refer to another referral to return another referral. So really having that front door access to really just jumpstart them into our system. And the Community Services Board actually approved at the beginning of this year to really provide that continuum of care time, which is really limited, to providing technical assistance to the Community Services Board through this process.
You know, obviously there's cost to this outreach program, this outreach case manager, but there's a cost to not doing something, and that is, I'm just going to read some of the numbers from a 2021 study. So obviously these numbers have gone up, but the 2021 continuum of care report about homelessness talked about the per capita cost for housing was about $20 then, shelter $30, jail $68, because we do hear that. Why don't we just, arrest people who are homeless? There's a big cost to that. So for jail is $68. And by the way, nor is that necessarily the right thing to do. It's just for a psychiatric hospital, $718. A medical hospital, $1,471. So we're looking at meeting people's needs and hoping to not just save their lives, work on their, help them with their lives, but also save money for the city. So again, it is, it's something that, again, has been talked about for a long time, and, the time is now. It makes sense. It makes sense to help people. It makes sense to do it in a fiscally responsible way as well. So, are there any other? Yes, Ms. Holmes?
I think that the financial aspect is an important one as like a piece of the puzzle. It's also just not, I think sometimes things kind of default to a police solution when it's not the most appropriate solution. And I don't think, I'm not going to speak for you in the back of the room, but I don't think the police really want to be in that position either. They don't have the, this is a much more appropriately trained person to find the most appropriate solution for the people that we are seeing in our city.